name is Kayur Patel. I'm a director at PwC in New Zealand, and I work in our generative AI and emerging technology team. I'm involved in helping our firm and our clients get to grips with generative AI, figure out how to use it to help them in their day-to-day tasks, but also how it's going to impact their businesses as well. It's really early days when it comes to businesses using generative AI at scale. So what we're seeing at the moment are a number of things. First is businesses trying to get themselves more educated around what generative AI is and how it can actually help. The second is starting to understand how some of these more democratized tools can be used in the hands of lots and lots of people to improve efficiency. And then the third thing and final thing at the moment is probably some businesses that have moved to that level where they can start to build some pretty specific things to have more automation over a larger task. There's a couple of ways that PwC is using AI at the moment. So the first is we've got a safe, democratized AI tool we have made available to all of our people. The second way that we've used AI at PwC is for when we have specific people with specific tasks, we've provided them more bespoke AI tools to help them with those specific tasks. So if you're a programmer, something like GitHub Copilot, for example, might be in your wheelhouse. Some of our users might use ChatGPT Enterprise and others. When we talk about safe and democratized tools, what I mean by that is, from a safety perspective, what are the models that you can use in a way that both the questions and the information you put into the model, as well as the answers you get out, don't get taken to train future versions of a public model. There's a few different areas that we like to focus on with training our own people. One is how can they make every single task they do more efficient? And then two, where are the big levers we can pull with generative AI to really change the dial on efficiency in some specific areas? There's an element of just helping them to understand what generative AI is and how it works and what's happening to the industry and what do we think the future, at least the next 12, 24 months is going to look like in this space. Then there's the part about prompt engineering. So how do you actually use these tools to do things like stop them from hallucinating and get them to sound more like you and not too generic, and make sure that you can dial up creativity when you want to, but then focus more on accuracy in different areas. And then the third piece is how we can train people to build their own custom agents or custom assistants to help them with specific tasks, especially when those tasks are quite repeatable. What we're seeing is working well now, though, is just the benefits you can get from having everyone use AI to save between 1 and 3 hours a day, every day at scale. I think that's a real win at the moment. There are quite a few ethical questions that we need to go through when we're thinking about using generative AI for something. One of the things we still have to be very clear about with our own people and with our clients is that AI is a tool rather than a substitute at the moment. So what I mean by that is, if you're using AI to be a bit more efficient at something or to do a better quality at something, the human that's using the tool still has to own the output. Having human ownership over the output and being able to stand behind what it is that we're actually delivering to a client is extremely important, especially when a client is going to rely on the output that we're providing them. The other piece is the things around just cybersecurity and privacy, like making sure we're using a safe version of the tool, making sure that we're only putting data into the tool that is appropriate for that tool, making sure that we're not keeping that data for longer than we need it or using it for purposes that are different to what we've said we're going to use it for. Once you've got AI into the organization, there's a few things that you need to stay on top of from a governance perspective, because it's very easy to be really focused on it when you're implementing the thing and then forget that you have to stay on top of it. The first is there's always going to be a need to monitor what technology our staff are using, our people are using, and also how they're using it. Once people start to get used to using this technology, it's still very important to help people understand that they need to stand behind the work that they do. If you're a junior accountant providing, say, a draft deliverable to a manager or a director or a partner to review, not taking the mindset of, I've used AI and so I'm just going to pass it on, but saying I've used AI to get an output. Now I'm going to run my own critical lens and thinking through the output, make sure it's good enough for me to put my name on that. Generally, we find that organizations are putting together a little bit of a governance group, and that is the mechanism for which they can make sure they stay on top of these things. For accountants and finance professionals, I think there's a few trends that we're seeing at the moment. The first is just the capability of the technology. So there's no question that generative AI to date is so much better with text than it is with numbers. To start with, we're seeing accountants and finance professionals using AI to help interpret numbers, but then generate text. The businesses that are using AI well, generally, are the businesses that have been able to understand that the way you interact with these models is treating it like a brain for hire. What that then leads you on to is saying, how can I use generative AI every single day to do all the tasks that I would normally do, but just do it a little bit more efficiently? We're seeing that businesses that take that approach, like having an intern available to you all the time, this very smart brain for hire, are doing really well at the moment. I can't say enough how important it is to get your hands dirty with this technology. It's so important to do that now. So as this stuff improves, you're improving with it because you're so familiar with it.